he's great. Like,
I asked him about. I was like, I got Tom Nolan coming on the potty, and he's like, oh yeah. He's just like, if that cunt calls me Rocket, I still get it going.
what's wrong? That's his nickname.
Yeah, well, he come out here like our getting together was funny as fuck. Like how we become mates, because it was like schoolies, and we got trapped in like an elevator security exit or some shit.
Yeah.
And that's how we become mates. And then I called him Rocket all the time, because that's what like universal across our age group.
Yeah.
It's like, you're Rocket cunt. Like you're a little red rocket. And
Oh, I don't like it.
No, he's like, no, I can't, don't call me that.
Really?
And so like he come out for my 18th, I think, and I was jamming up everyone. I was like, just call the cunt Rocket all fucking day. And then he started lining cunts up in the backyard doing run straight challenges with everyone. Yeah.
What did he say why he doesn't like it?
Nah, he's just like he was joking. He's like, yeah, he's like, I don't know why, I just never liked Rocket as a nickname. I was like, Rocket's not a bad nickname.
It's only because he's like, he just runs, everything's just full of power all the
It's like,
time.
bro, your centre of gravity is like half
Yeah.
everything else is.
There you go.
Right, Tom, welcome. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Cheers, man.
Pubcats, happy to have you. So, for those who don't know, Tom is a mixed martial arts fighter. How do you get started with it?
So, playing footy, playing parts of
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was thinking off season, I wanted to keep active and keep getting better. So I thought jiu-jitsu and wrestling would aid like defensive tackling.
What age was that?
About 14 I started.
Yeah.
Did it for about 6 months. I was still in love with footy, so I went away from it.
Yeah.
And then my coach called me up for my mate Khan. He was competing in the World Championships and needed a training partner. Yeah, so
you were just like footy, and this was not even a thing. You know? This is just extras for footy.
Just extras. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then I got the call up to be Khan's training partner, and it was one-on-one training.
Yeah.
And that just suits me better. Like the big group training, I sort of felt a bit lost, but one-on-one started getting decent at it, and we just went from there.
You know what's funny about that is, because I've followed your story the whole way, because even when I was mates, like, because I did become mates with Rocco for a bit through Cyril Collins and stuff, and then through under 18s, Clydesdales and shit, and I remember talking to him about you specifically, because we become friends on Facebook or some shit years and years and years ago, but like we were never mates.
Yeah.
And my only memory of you ever was, remember when we did those ring wrestling drills? Fucking Clydesdales?
Yeah.
I've told this story a couple of times and people have no idea, so they can put a face to it. But like we were doing a wrestling drill and I got thrown in the middle for some reason. I'm a big fat cunt, man, 14s. And then you got thrown in and I was just like, oh yeah, I got this card. And then you fucking flipped me so fast and just humbled the fuck out of me. And I was just like, I'm never coming back after this.
Yeah, that was a little while ago.
But like, and then to see, like, to remember that story so vividly, to go into like where you are now is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
So like, that start, like, so you're you being that training partner, do you reckon like that was your inspiration? That was your first stepping stone?
Yeah, definitely. So, Khan is he's a tremendous athlete, really good fighter.
Yeah.
He was competing, he was getting sponsored to go to America, Abu Dhabi to compete in the World Championships. Yeah.
Fuck.
So, I pretty much just followed in his footsteps and learned how to compete.
Yeah.
So that was a huge thing, just having that one-on-one.
Yeah.
Me and him started travelling around Australia doing all the jiu-jitsu comps.
Yeah.
Going to Melbourne and just taking out all the golds and that.
Yeah, what was your first sparring like? Like, obviously training and doing different techniques and shit like that's one thing, but actually like jumping in the ring and sparring is...
I can't really remember the first time. I can remember a lot of times where I hated it.
Yeah.
It wasn't very good. But it's one of those things, you just stick at it, and the more shots you eat, eventually you just decide, fuck this, I'm sick of getting hit.
Yeah.
And you come forward and it just hits, one day you just flip that switch. But I don't remember specifically when.
Yeah. It's. Do you think it's something that you naturally just have? Like, were you always considered? Have you been in fights before this, or you were never?
I wouldn't call it natural at all. I think when I started, I was actually almost the other end. I was really, really bad when I started.
Wow.
I remember being told by one of the guys in the gym, definitely wasn't a sport for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about guidance. My coach picked me up, so he was training in the same gym.
Yeah.
And he was 2 on, 2 off for work, training around the world.
Yeah.
Just supreme athlete, just fucking insane. Anyway, he must have just seen something in me and picked me and Khan up.
Yeah.
And, just started teaching us on the side, one-on-one.
Fuck yeah.
And I just decided one day, I was like, I'm just going to be good at this. I'm sick of being shit. I was just getting bashed every day, and I was like, I'm going to just try and be good at this. And
well, you would have had those weapons already, like through the training and shit like that.
Yeah, through footy and that, yeah, but it's like that with everyone when you start. No one walks into a gym, not one person walks into an MMA or jiu-jitsu gym and is just naturally good. Yeah. You get bashed, that's how it is.
I think that's a massive misconception as well with people who are like, you know, like, oh, well, footy's probably a good one, but like, cunts who are good at footy wrestling probably think they can walk into a gym and kick anyone's ass in an MMA thing, but they get fucked up.
Yeah, like, pretty easily, and it's really humbling, and, you know, you start off, it probably took me about 3 years before I started thinking, I'm getting, like, all right at this.
Yeah.
First 3 years was just terrible, I just sucked.
Yeah.
But that's how it is, you know, that's how it's meant to be.
Well, do you remember, like, your first fight, like, pro or not pro, but, like, your first fight, like, what were you feeling, like, fun going?
Yeah, I remember my first fight. I remember my coach telling me, your first fight, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and this really stuck with me. He said, for your first fight, this is where we're going to see your true character. Like, what happens in the gym, doesn't matter. Yeah. What happens now under the lights is what is important. Yeah. And I just went out with that attitude, just, well, I've got to prove myself here.
Yeah.
And, I had a pretty good fight for my first fight. I think I was 15.
Fuck. I didn't know you that. So that was at Toowoomba?
No, that was at the Gold Coast.
And that was, like, fully booked up and everything. Who'd you fight?
A bloke from up north, can't remember where he's from. His name's Quinton Davies, I'm pretty sure.
How old was he?
Probably around the same age, I can't remember.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to lose to a guy named Clinton.
That's fair.
Nah, but like, so like even going into it, was it intimidating? Was it like,
yeah, it was, but
big butterflies in your guts? Or?
We were pretty young, so it was like it was appropriate for our age. It wasn't.
Yeah.
My first proper fight, like with, you know, big crowd and in the cage, I was 16, and I fought a bloke who was, I think he was 9-0 at the time, but all through the amateur stuff. How old was he? I can't really remember. He was older than me.
Yeah.
But it was all through the amateur stuff.
Yeah.
So like, he was probably only like really 3-0 under the proper rule set.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to war. We got fight of the night. It was pretty crazy. Same thing, man. Just going out with the attitude of just leave it out there.
As a 16-year-old, like that is, like obviously like with footy, like I keep going back to footy, but that's just because we play footy. But like with footy, you can be a 16-year-old, but you're not on your own. Like you're not on the field by yourself.
Exactly.
And so like to be in the ring at 16, that's fucking massive. Like the balls you need to have to do that. And then like, I don't imagine there is a massive pool of 16-year-olds MMA fighters, you know? No. So like because you fight in featherweight division.
Used to.
What are you going up now?
Now I'm lightweight. So I started off in lightweight, went to featherweight, and then obviously grew.
How heavy are you now?
Right now I'm about probably 80 to 81.
Oh fuck, and that's lightweight.
No, lightweight's 70. That's what I weigh in.
Oh okay, yeah. So you're happy with that, or you want to go up, or what's the?
I'm pretty happy with how I cut weight. I do it all naturally. I don't get into the sauna. I get it all off healthy.
Just naturally.
Diet
and stuff like that.
And there is a bit of water manipulation for sure, but I don't actually sweat it out. So.
Oh, cool.
I do it all through.
And so like that leading up to the cut is just pretty well. Like obviously, it's a massive problem for a lot of fighters, and you see it. I'm like, well, I'll get into this later, but like obviously. You see it mostly in UFC and shit like that, like the fighters and shit like that over there. But the cuts over here, I don't imagine there would be like I don't know obviously, but like I don't imagine there'd be that massive, you know, like blokes sitting in saunas for hours, or is there?
That's how it is.
Oh really?
But there is a guy on the scene at the moment, flight dietitian. He's an expert at this stuff. And he's been looking after a lot of fighters and getting everyone out of danger.
Yeah.
Before him, pretty much everyone was just winging it.
Yeah.
A lot of people have ended up in pretty bad states from it in the local scene. I know a few guys who are...
Really?
Yeah.
Just dehydration and...
Yeah, man, just too much.
With you, eh?
Yeah, for sure. It's the worst thing. Think about it, like you're cutting 10 to 20 kilos off your body, taking that fluid out of your brain, and then go and get punched in the head. So that's actually what stops you from getting knocked out.
Think of that, eh?
So what stops you from getting knocked out is your brain bouncing against the skull. The water, like, is a cushion.
Yeah.
If you dehydrate yourself, it's just going into your raw bone. Yeah, and you go to sleep.
That is, I fucking admit that is interesting as fuck. Well, 8 wins, 1 loss, and the no contest. And I watched the no contest with the eye gouge.
Yeah, I think I was 16 in that as well.
So that just goes to no one then.
Yeah, so what happened there was the doctor come in, he said to me, can you see? And I remember I couldn't see out of my eye, and I was like, no, I can't see, but I can still fight because I had my other eye.
Yeah.
And he asked Brady, he said, is this a world title fight, mate? Is this professionally getting paid? And I was like, no. He's like, well, you're not going to fight and lose your eye. You're only 16. I'm pulling it. It's no contest. Yeah. I was like, I was upset, but now I look back at that and I think, because I've got damage from it now. My eye.
Really?
Yeah, nothing too severe, but it definitely.
Was it like instant, or did he like slip in and gradually go in, or was it just bang?
Instant, yeah. So he didn't mean to do it. He threw a kick. When you throw a kick, you put your hands out for a frame, and as he did it, I came in as well, and it just happened to be that it went into my eye.
Your one loss. What do you remember about that?
So I fought a bloke he is in Perth, but he travels over to Albuquerque over in America, in Mexico.
In Mexico, yeah.
Training with like John Jones, Cowboy Cerrone.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, he's legit.
How old's he? Yeah,
he's a bit older, yeah. He was a really good man. I learned a lot from that. I probably learned the most I've ever learned from a fight from that one. Body shot after cutting too much weight, lacerated my liver. It was pretty full on.
What's your worst injury?
That's got to be my worst injury. Yeah.
Was that surgery?
Yeah. Nah, well, probably should have been, but I ended up leaving the hospital because I was very obviously I was devastated. Yeah. And they said you couldn't eat, and I obviously cut weight, and I was just like, nah, I'm just going. Me and my mates just walked out.
Is it a sport that you see like a lot of hit and miss or a lot of lottery in regards to the fact that, like, similar to footy where, you could have a really good fighter, but they're just littered with injuries and it just
absolutely that happens all the time. One of my secondary coach, he's the same. He is an absolute freak at fighter, man. He's crazy, but just gets injuries and it takes too long to recover, and it's like the lottery, man. You got to get through without getting injured. You got to win, which is also like anyone can land a shot to put you to sleep. Yeah, I don't care who you are. If you land that shot and put them to sleep, So a lot of things have got to line up. You've got to get seen by the Americans. You've got to win your fights. You've got to win impressively. Like, you can't just win. You've got to. It's entertainment. That's what it's about. And you've got to not get injured. And you've got to have outside life all flowing. Everything has to be perfect for it to work.
Well, see, like, I'll just go back to what is your most favourite fight or your most memorable fight?
I've got a few. Probably my most satisfying one was when I first fought for the XFC belt, because I was 17, and I remember a lot of teams were telling me, don't take this fight, this guy's pretty dangerous.
Really?
Yeah. I told that by a few guys, but my coach, he watched all the fights of old mates and just said, mate, there's so many ways, so many paths to victory here. Yeah. He was just one of those guys who went in, knocked people out in like 20 seconds of just flurries, just going nuts on them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so we game planned for it, and it went exactly how we thought it would. Mm-hmm. But it was just satisfying because I remember out the back before the fight, so we were warming up, right, and there was all these corridors, and if you walked out, you could see everyone warming up. Yeah. And he wasn't warming up, he was just standing there trying to staunch me, rolling his shoulders over, just staring at me. Oh, I'm 17, man, I wasn't even an adult.
Yeah, I was about to ask how old you were. So he was a grown man.
This was the weekend of schoolie, so I graduated, had a week to cut weight, and then fought this dude. He's a grown man. Yeah. Anyway, so we're out the back, and Khan was laughing at him, being cheeky, pointing at him. And Khan walked down the stairs, bro, and this guy, like, his song's playing to walk out, to fight me. Yeah. He, instead of walks out the cage, turns around, tries to hit Khan, who was 16 at the time, like running at him with his hand cocked, trying to fight him. Then they put all the workers from XFC, they put all the security in between us. Yeah. And he's there jumping up and down, like trying to yell at me as his song's playing, and I'm just like so confused. I'm like, dude, we are about to fight right there in that cage.
Just get in the ring.
Anyway, he walked out, did a big, like he was trying to be like a Viking at the time, so he had the plait and the big beard and had a Viking song playing.
Oh yeah, I fucking got the showdown.
Scream and just scream.
Yeah, the showdown I put in the clip.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So anyway, I walked in and we're fighting. I'm just on top of him, bashing him, and then he quit on the stool. So the referee said, 1 minute's up, get up, and I'm getting up. As I'm getting up too, Khan's cutting my hair because my hair's going everywhere. Yeah. Getting up, and he's just sitting there, and the ref's like, mate, get up, you're gonna fight. And he just goes like this, done.
Why did he call it? He knew.
I reckon I reckon he'd been put in deep water. Like, obviously, I took him down, had him in choke.
Yeah, the video I watched from that fight, you were actually on top of him laying into it.
Yeah, I think maybe it was just an eye-opener for him. Maybe he just never experienced that.
Yeah, fuck.
Seems to be a way for a lot of fighters. They go these big undefeated runs, they have a loss, and like Cody Garbrandt, the UFC fighter, perfect example. Had the biggest run to the title, one loss, done. Now I think he's 1-5 or something.
They just don't bounce back.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. That's why they say you should have your experiences as an amateur, have your losses, have everything happen, and see how you recover, see how you bounce.
God, yeah. And like going in thinking that you're gonna, like, fighting is like, it's so subjective, I guess you could say. In regards to, like, you don't, like you said before, like, you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can plan the best you can for it.
Exactly.
But like anything can fucking happen in that ring. So like you had your amateurs and then you fought your first couple of pro times. Was there a moment that you can remember that was just like, snap, like, fuck, I can do this. Like, this is...
Yeah, I had that probably... It would have been around that fight. That one with for the belt. That was an eye-opener for you. Yeah, so before that, I remember my coach telling me at the time, he said, you know, you're going to have to probably make a decision here with footy and fighting, because, you know, you start making a name, you've got to go pro eventually. And so I said, yeah, I think fighting is where I'm going to have more success.
Yeah.
I just thought, even though, like we just said, there are a lot of variables, you can lose, but also, it's purely on me, I'm in control. So if I go in there and lose, I can only blame myself. Whereas on a footy field, you don't dictate everything. It's a team. And I just thought I'd have probably a better chance by myself. You know what I mean? Like in sport individually. Yeah. And I got no one to blame then. If I lose, I lose. It is what it is.
And like playing footy as well, like, I don't know, I feel like footy is very, like, home-like in that, like, you can always come back to footy.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's what, like, my old boy, who's a massive, massive footy fanatic, and we all played footy, like, there's 5 of us boys, and we were all half-handy, but it was kind of like, you know, if you just want to do something, it's like, back yourself, go do a footy, you'll always be here, come back to footy. But footy is such a massive, massive, like, it's like a fucking funnel. You've got hundreds of thousands of kids in this country wanting to make it, and then out of that hundreds of thousands, you got, like, what, how many debutants you get a year? You get, like, probably, like, 20, 30 debutants in the NRL every year.
Yeah.
And so, like, even those blokes will play, half of them will probably play one game and then end up playing in Trust Cup for years after that. So it's so, like, what's the word? Non-forgiving. Like, it's not forgiving at all.
It's the same with fighting, especially coming out of Australia. Like, really, you've got to have... First, you've got to get a manager. You've got to get the eyes of a manager on you. Yeah. And then you've got to get the eyes of the UFC on you. Yeah. If that's your goal. UFC is the pinnacle. But there are other promotions, like PFL. You win their belt, it's $1 million guaranteed.
Can't.
One FC.
Is that Australia?
No, it's American.
Yeah.
One FC, pretty much the Asian version of UFC. Yeah. Like the same amount of following, it's just not westernized, so you don't hear about as much. There's a lot of other promotions around the world, but it's like you said, playing Intrust Super Cup or playing NRL, what do you really want to do?
Yeah.
UFC is where it's at.
Yeah.
So it can be unforgiving, but the other thing about it is you learn all these life skills. You can come back and you can open a gym. Yeah. Or you can, I don't know, fight in other promotions around the world. Like, there is a lot of good that comes out of it too.
So you'll, like those examples you just gave, none of them are Australian. Is there a problem with Australia, or is there just not a market for it at the moment, do you think?
Eternal is definitely
the biggest one.
That's where it's at.
It's pretty fresh too, isn't it? 2012.
Yeah, so for Australia, I think they're probably like the second or third, like they're pretty original.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
2003 I think XFC that's their motto, and I'm pretty sure they were the first promotion.
Yeah.
So it's all fresh in Australia, that's all it is, it's nothing new.
Yeah, right.
And obviously our size, the population's a lot smaller.
23 million compared to 400 million, whatever America is. So.
But Eternal's definitely, like, they're signed with UFC Fight Pass now, so that's a massive, massive step.
Yeah, that is.
Getting millions and millions of views all around the world.
So your goal, like, obviously, like, is there money to be made in it in Australia?
In Australia, not really.
Yeah.
The UFC and PFL, and that's where the money is, but if you want to make it, Eternal's the pathway, for sure, 100%.
So you'll stick with Eternal until...
Yeah, I've signed a contract with them.
So how long do you stay with them for?
So whatever comes first, either 2 years or 6 fights.
Oh, right,
whatever runs up first, yeah.
Fair enough. I feel like the 6 fights would be a good one too, because you could go 2 years for fucking only fighting twice or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's why they give you 2, because if Corona happened and you signed a 6-fight deal, that could, who knows how long that could
So how much have you fought since Corona started? Corona 2020, 2 years now.
So I fought in, my last amateur fight was 2019 with the Eternal.
Yeah.
That was that spinning back kick on that video.
Yeah.
And then I had a string of injuries after that from cutting too much weight. I think I grew and I just had a string of injuries.
Yeah, and like the injuries just come through training?
So then that was when I was at the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
I decided to move back home because I thought if I'm going to keep getting injured, well actually my coach and my brother, they said to me, if you're going to keep getting injured, you need something behind it, because if you get to 30 and all you've done is fight and you've enjoyed your life, that's fine, but what are you going to do? Are you going to make money? Yeah. So finishing my apprenticeship up with my brother.
Yep.
Moved back home, you know, family, friends, everything around.
Yeah.
Like I've got a little home gym. It's just a lot more full circle. Everything in life's
exactly.
Yeah, and that's I think displayed in my last fight.
Yeah.
I think it shows when I fight, like, you know.
You're just more grounded and everything.
But yeah, back to your question, because of Corona, I've only fought. So I fought once in 2020 and then once in 2021. But now that the borders are all opening, I should get at least 3 this year.
When do you fight this year next?
We're looking at April. It just depends on the roster. I don't know what Eternal's roster is at the moment. My manager's talking with them.
Yeah.
If not, it should be May. They're pretty consistent.
And that'll be at the Gold Coast?
Don't know yet. Don't know where. They're on the Gold Coast in March, so I assume it won't be. I don't think they double, but they might. It just depends on what the promoters are thinking.
Are you supposed to be like ready to go all the time, or you get like...
No, they don't. They don't expect anyone to, like, you know, if someone pulls out, they'll definitely give you an option to step up.
Yeah.
But they don't force anyone to do anything. Yeah. With my camp, we stay ready all year round.
Yep.
We keep our weight at a good weight.
Well, that's the best way to be.
Yeah.
Like you could run the risk of an off season and then have blokes blow out.
Exactly.
And just lose it.
And opportunity, you know. Yeah. If someone pulls out for a title shot, and you're the man to step up. You know what I mean? Like there's opportunity to be made, so we always look at training.
If like let's say hypothetical, if someone was to come to you tomorrow and be like, "You want a shot at the title?" Would you go for it?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Without even thinking about it, you just go for it. And like
the guy who has the belt at the moment, he's really good.
Who's that?
Jack Becker.
Oh, okay.
He's really talented.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in the UFC soon. I don't know how old he is.
Yeah.
But I believe he'll be in the UFC this year.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's pretty big pretty big rap.
Oh, no, he's really good. Yeah.
So you just said like, with your like work and stuff like that, like you finished your plumbing apprenticeship this year?
No. I'm third year now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you started a little bit later?
Yeah. When I moved back, that's when I started.
That's fair. You like living in Toowoomba?
Yeah. Love it.
You grew up in Toowoomba as well, like from all the way?
Grew up, moved away. I moved to Gold Coast the day after that fight with the old Viking old mate.
Yeah.
Lived there for like a year and a half, and then came back.
Yeah. And your missus and mates and all that are in Toowoomba anyway?
Yeah, mates and all that, yeah.
So with training as well, like where do you train in Toowoomba?
So with my head coach, he's got a little house set up, but we also train at another gym, B-Hand Jiu-Jitsu, so he's got a really big facility. Yep. And then obviously I train there as well, so we got wrestling there, Jiu-Jitsu there, and they've got striking now as well. We also strike, we go and spar at Phil's at Napui. Yep. We go to Brisbane, we train with Base. That's Damien Brown's gym, he's an ex-UFC fighter.
Okay, yeah.
We got a few other specialist coaches like Dion Swart, he was a medalist in the Commonwealth Games for wrestling, so he's pure wrestling. Yeah. And then James McKay, he also coaches us, he's a really good strength and conditioning coach.
So you're a bit like, whatever that comes up, like all over?
Yeah, well, it's all built. The difference between us and other camps is like, another camp, right, it's just a big gym, a lot of people, and you show up and it's up to you to get better. Whereas with us, you know, we got this coach, we've got that coach, we've got this gym for this day, we've got, you know, and obviously my other coach, Zach, he coaches us, he's an absolute freak fighter as well.
Do you think that's like a lot more personal, obviously?
Absolutely. That's where it's
that
at.
one-on-one time at your speed, fucking way better.
Yeah. And we're really close, like we're not just like, it's not like awkward, like, oh, that's my coach. It's like, no, it's my friend. Like we're all really, like we're best mates pretty much.
Yeah. That's fucking how you want to be.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You don't want it to be a chore, and you don't want it to be with people you don't want to be around.
Exactly.
You know.
Like you don't feel nervous to say like, oh, anything. I'm injured here or injured there. You talk to your coach and you say, you know, in other gyms that's not what happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think people just shit themselves trying to like being honest with their coaches?
Just don't really know them that well.
Yeah.
It's very like business relationship. Like, you know, you're in my gym, you're my fighter, training, you know, fighting, nothing else.
Yeah.
Whereas if I've got any type of life issue, I'll go straight to my coach.
Yeah.
You know.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So of all your fights, have you knocked anyone out?
Yeah. Yep.
Have you?
Yep.
Like by striking or?
Yeah, so spinning back kick on old the last amateur fight.
Yeah.
Old mate, I forgot his name, my second title defense, he had me on the cage and I had him in the clinch, tie clinch.
Yeah.
Knee to the face, dropped him and then choked him from it. Old mate from the Viking, that's a TKO. Yeah.
And they just don't tap. Like even though you had old mate in a position where he was going to go, he just took it.
Nah, he ended up tapping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My second fight as well, I finished the guy with leg kicks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I just kicked his legs and he just sat down and said, nah, no more. He was done.
Wow.
So that's a knockout as well.
Is that like a massive surprise? Because I can imagine the
doesn't happen often. Oh, it was very satisfying.
Yeah, and the satisfaction from even knocking someone out, like it sounds fucking pretty animalistic, but
it's
like
amazing.
When you're in the ring to do the job,
and
the job gets done in that sort of way, that's pretty fucking alpha.
Yeah, it's definitely satisfying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So, what's the future? Like, are you happy to hang around Toowoomba and just like go your fights with Eternal and then just try to re-sign with them or re-sign someone else after the 2 years?
Obviously it depends how it all plays out, but the goal's UFC.
Yep.
So for me now it's about keep on winning the way I have been.
Yeah.
Keep on impressing and just hopefully get that call up eventually.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way around the fact that you could be a really good fighter and have an unlucky string of fights where you lose a couple.
Yeah.
And you probably deserve to be in the UFC.
All the
but
time.
the politics would be, look, mate, your rap sheet needs to be good. You need to have those wins when you're back. So you're saying that just there's like it would be exactly what managers look for.
Obviously, losses are a part of it. No one can avoid a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's only one Khabib. That's it. Everyone's got losses.
Well, how many fights did he have and he just pulled the pin?
29.
And
but he's obviously that's different. No one else is like that at all.
Nah, he's scary.
You have losses, and it's part of the game.
Yeah.
Like we don't get built up like boxing. It's just these are your few options: fight them or don't.
Yeah. Is there a lack of opportunity in Australia with MMA?
Nah. I reckon if
you
anything,
think there's no excuse to get out there?
It can be hard to be seen, but also the platform now. Eternal is just so much bigger. It's so big now. Like anyone can make it now.
So what would be your advice to a bloke who's like, I don't know if they're fucking out there, I hope they're not, but blokes that are like, oh, I'm pretty hard cunt, I want to get into MMA. Like what would be your fucking go for them? Like where do they go? Who do they talk to?
Like in town here or just in general?
Oh, like just anywhere. Like let's say someone from Chinchilla was like, oh, I want to get into MMA.
For me, I would suggest starting in jiu-jitsu because jiu-jitsu will humble you because it's hard to explain it. You don't really know unless you feel it, but someone can just control you without even moving.
Yeah.
And it's hard. That's a hard concept to understand when you think you're physical. You think I'm really good at footy. I'm really strong. I can physically hold someone. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you're being choked out or someone's got their hooks in on you, you can't move.
Yeah.
And it's really you go one or two ways. Like I hate that, and you avoid it and you shell up, or you think, wow, I want to. It's humbling. I want to be good. I want to be better.
Wow.
So my advice is go to jiu-jitsu, stick with it, and get really good at that, and then learn how to strike, learn how to work the cage, learn how to wrestle, and then learn how to have a complete game with a good coach.
That's probably I like what you just said just there about pretty well humble yourself, isn't it? Like go get your ass kicked by a 50-year-old man that's been training in jiu-jitsu forever.
Yes.
Who's 60 kilos.
Not even forever. They've been training for 2 years.
Yeah.
And they're half your weight and double your age, they'll still smash you.
It was funny, I don't know if you know him, but he played footy here with us, Sam Laffey. He's only a young fella, but he's been doing jiu-jitsu now for 2 years, and his party trick on the piss is pretty funny. He just flips nuts. And so he has no interest in MMA or anything like that. He goes to church every Sunday, but he'll be at a party, pissed as, and it's funny. Last time I seen him do it, there was 120 kilo bloke, a bloke the size of me, probably a little bit taller. I was like, nah, I can't fucking have you. And then he just like put him on the ground in seconds and like had the cunt. We were on the piss. I think he blacked out. But he had him in a lock and he's like, tap cunt. Like, I'm not letting you go till you tap. And so like, but like that. And he said the exact same thing. He's just like, nah, man, I go out there with like 40-year-old men that are 60, 50 kilos. And he's like, they're just amazing.
Yeah.
Like, they're just their technique and their fucking, the
and
way
there's
they
levels
do
to
shit.
that too, you know, like, there's good, there's great, there's phenomenal, like, it keeps building.
Yeah. But is there like a jiu-jitsu sort of, like a competition? Is there jiu-jitsu competitions?
Yeah. So that's how we started.
Yeah.
So that's how we learned how to, compete. So it's pretty big in Australia.
Yeah, fine.
All around Australia.
Well, it must be, because I always hear about little towns having jiu-jitsu setups.
Yeah.
And because I know a lot of older dudes who don't want to go to the gym and break their backs fucking lifting weights, it's an easier way for them to exercise as well. My pop started taekwondo, when he was like 50, 60 even.
Yeah, right. So taekwondo, that's all kicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stripped a shitload of weight and it was just perfect for him. And he ended up getting all the belts, and he still does some pretty crazy shit to this day that you're like, whoa, cunt. But he'll sit you on your ass and he kicks you in the chin. But that's what I think. That's the amazing thing about it is this, like, it has to be like a pseudoscience. It's not even a pseudoscience. It's like a biology science of, knowing those pressure points and knowing the what this is doing. This is going to trigger this. Doing this is going to trigger that.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, do you think like having that background is going to tick boxes left, right, and centre?
Yeah, I see it as like a little bit like the ace up the sleeve. Like now, I'm starting to come into my striking, really enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, you've got that up your sleeve. Like I'm only young, and I've got a BJJ brown belt. So,
do you want to go through and do like other sort of mixed martial arts and?
Yeah, we've sort of narrowed it down to. I know it's called mixed martial arts, but it's starting to become its own martial art.
Yeah.
Like for instance, jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of things that don't work in MMA.
Yeah.
But they work in pure jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Striking, boxing. There's a lot of things in boxing that do work. There's a lot of things that don't.
Yeah.
For obviously takedowns, elbows. Like you can't, for boxing you stand a lot more narrow. If you're standing narrow.
Do you fight a few boxers in the MMA world? Like cunts that just come out and try to...
Oh yeah, a lot of people just throw, but none of them are really just boxers. They understand the concept of MMA, But you can't be just... You got to take aspects from each martial art and then form it into its own thing.
Yeah.
That's what's good about my coach. He's nearly got it down pat to its own thing.
Yeah,
a lot of things he says, no, stop that. I know that's purist, but that's not going to work in this situation.
Yeah. That is interesting that you say that it's becoming its own martial art, and then...
That's the next evolution.
Yeah, far out.
A lot of people are still, they're not following that recipe, but yeah.
So do you think, like you said before the podcast started, that you wouldn't move overseas if it was...
Well...
Or is it just...
I wouldn't put it like... I never say no to anything, but it's not something I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
Me and my coach, we've talked about going over and training overseas.
Yep.
Like going to Thailand and training at the gyms over there, going to New Zealand training at those gyms.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't see a permanent move right now, not in my...
Like you wouldn't move over there to kick the goal, you'd rather kick the goal here.
Yeah, man, it's all about... Yeah, Alex Volkanovski, man, he trains in a small gym in Australia. He's the champ, the UFC champ, featherweight champ. Right. He trains with, there's a handful of guys that are really solid.
He goes over when he has to.
Yeah, he does the same thing, goes to New Zealand, goes to Thailand, gets those skills, comes back, and then, they build up those skills.
When do you think your first overseas fight will be?
Oh, no idea.
Can Eternal organise that, or Eternal's strictly...
Yeah, no, they're New Zealand as well.
Okay,
I think eventually they're going to be big enough that they will branch off.
Yeah.
But, I've fought guys who have come in.
But yeah. Do you think that they fight any differently, or is it all pretty well the same style? Or like each fighter would fight.
That American guy I fought, he was a different style.
Yeah.
He was really good. He was slick. The other guys were pretty similar.
Yeah. Well, when you get your next fight dates, we'll fucking post them up.
Yeah, for sure.
Let us know, because I'll bring a couple of boys down. We'll throw a chat from the sideline.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
If we're allowed to, I'm not sure.
No,
cool,
you can't go overboard, but you can definitely
we'll definitely have to come down.
Last time JT was here, after the win, I'm walking out and everyone's there, and I'm, you know, there's bright lights and I'm on high adrenaline, just like, and he jumped the railings and caught his feet on it and spilling beer all over the cameraman. And they were pretty cool about it. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, they'd have to be like, you know, a lot.
Pretty rowdy.
Well, it's a younger crowd as well. Like,
Yeah.
because you got younger fighters, so you're gonna have a younger crowd.
And like I said, it's entertainment. You've seen people get put to sleep.
Yeah.
Like people. I know it's animalistic, but we're animals. People love
I was
that shit.
just about to say, it's like, you know, like, doesn't it just, you know, like we humans like to see ourselves as on this pedestal.
Yeah, man.
But it's like, bro, people want to see people bash the fuck out of people.
Yeah, man.
You know, like you could have the most civilized person be like, oh, yeah, no, I'm just going to the pub to watch two dudes kick the shit out of each other on TV. And it's just like, oh, yeah.
That's the thing you got to remember about it being a fighter too. It's like, you know that people only want to see either you get hurt or someone else get hurt.
Yeah.
So that's why it is important to have a tight crew, because, I mean, all that matters to me is that my family and my friends and my team are proud of me. That's it. I know if I get knocked out one day, which definitely can happen, obviously, people are going to see that. And I've learned to just be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because what are you going to do? You got knocked out.
You know what's funny?
Happens.
Bo Famer said the exact same thing the other week on the potty, and he was like, you know, at the end of the day, the only person he needs to impress is his coach to keep the spot. And he's just like, and then he's like, I know my family, I know my friends that back me, whatever, they know I'm doing my best thing. He's like, but it's old fucking Joe Blow down the street that I fucking played shit the other day. He's like, I fucking know, I'm a professional athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
I know when I play shit, I know when I do shit.
It's easy to be saying that shit from the grandstands.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah, exactly. And
we're
like,
putting ourselves on the line.
Yeah, can't fucking jump into
you know, we put ourselves on the line. We train hard every day. We diet. We miss the social things. We don't drink. We don't do all these things. So, if they want to belittle you for it, it's just, if you're a smart athlete, it'll go over your head. Yeah.
Have you ever found yourself on a night out? Like I'm not sure how often like you get out nights out. Like you were talking about how you're piss free for the. Are you piss free all year? Or are you just gonna go for this?
So I'll go usually just until after the fight. Yeah. So like if I fight, let's say mid-April, let's say like 13 weeks away, I won't drink. I haven't been drinking. I won't drink all the way through until that night. Yeah. And I'll have a victory beer or a disappointment beer, depending on how the fight goes. And then a couple of weeks. You know, maybe a few beers here or there, and then we cut it back into training. Yeah. So, have you ever found yourself on a night out with some cunt being loopy, and you're just like? Yeah, it happens a fair bit. Sort this bird out, but you can't. Like pretty much, I try to avoid going out because a lot of people. Really? Yeah. Well, not because it's me. Like they're not like personally attacking me. It's just, it just seems to be the thing these days. Everyone wants to fight, and I'm a fighter. It's what I like to do. I feel like if people knew that about you too, they'd try to challenge you. Yeah. I have people do it like jokingly, which I'm like whatever. Yeah. But no, I don't think I've really had anyone say like, I know you're a fighter, I want to fight you to prove I'm better. Yeah. I've just had people who just think they're heroes in the club, and you're like, you know, you try to say, hey man, like you got to. It's a tough one because you've got to tell them, like, you know, you will probably get hurt in this situation without egging them on, because that's something like, you know, you got two guys looking at each other trying to fight, and you go, hey man, you don't want to do this, you're going to get put to sleep in front of everyone. Yeah. They don't take that as, oh, better back off. 95% of them go, they're like, alright, well, let's see. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not trying, this isn't me challenging you, bro. This is me saying, you're fucking sick. Yeah, I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I've already trained today, I've already been fucking hitting heads. Yeah. Leave me alone. It's fucking bad. It is bad. And I agree with you completely. Like me, like my younger brother just below me, he's like half a foot taller than me. And not every fucking time, that's an exaggeration, but small town like Dalby, most times I go out, I'm getting challenged. Yeah. And like, I'm not a fighter at all, so he'll probably flog the fuck out of me. But like, I'm like sitting at a bar, and like, best example was some 40-year-old dude in fucking Macca's drive-thru not long ago was like, I'll fucking flog you, cunt. I was like, I'm not even saying anything. And he's like, no, but I could. And it's like, you probably could. Like, don't start it. He's probably got a fair bit going on in his life, but that's another thing I like to think about. Like, you know, sometimes you walk away from it and you think to yourself, fuck, I really probably should have put that dude. Yeah, because, you know, it's going to be a good life lesson for him. But then you think, you know, why am I not doing it? Well, I'm not doing it because I'm happy with my life. I trained today. I feel good. I've let out my energy. I just fought recently. You know, I'm hanging with my friends tonight. Like, I don't need to do that. Like, just walk on. Whereas in their mind, man, they've probably got something going on. So if you think back like that, it's just like, well, I get over it quick. Sometimes I do get a bit burnt up. I'm like, I wish I could have done something, but
you throw alcohol in the mix and then your emotions.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but you can't, especially being a pro, you can't be doing that to someone. Like,
I feel like that is something, especially that like pros have down to an art with that sort of stuff. Well, your mentality is saying it's a breath of fresh air.
Some do. I mean, another thing you got to remember is
you get some that are like.
Well, we are, like I said, we are fighters. So some of them are pretty. There's a lot of wild men in this game as well.
Yeah, like.
It's about being smart. It's about being controlling that, because we've all got a streak of that in us, obviously, to be doing what we do. You got to have a little bit of nuts in you to do it, but you got to be able to control it. You got to be able to say, well, what's going to be more important, and that's a big thing about having people around you. Because sometimes I do get a bit worked up. But my brother, my coach, a lot of people say to me, man, don't be a fucking idiot. Is it worth it? And you think to yourself, it's really not worth it.
That's what you need to like ground you as well, because like especially. But it's funny, like I wouldn't have expected that, like to you to say that some fighters like that, but I guess it makes sense. Cause
you see it in the news all the time. Yeah. Old mate bashed and old mate.
And because you guys are considered fucking walking weapons.
Exactly. It doesn't look good.
Exactly. So, and you can fuck cunts up, and people don't get that. And like, that's why I never understand why people keep egging you on. It's just like, bro, like, you fucking see what.
It's the same thing I always said before, but I play footy, I'm strong. Yeah. You just have this false sense of security, whereas. That's the thing about training, man. Like, even still now, I think to myself, fuck, man, I've got so much getting better to do. Like, I suck in the scheme of things. Like, I really... That's the mindset you've got to have. Yeah. Or else you're going to go nowhere. Dude, but that's the thing you learn from jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Like, people like that, they start jiu-jitsu, give them 1 year, and I guarantee you they will not be trying to fight anyone. Because once they start learning how to fight, you realise, I don't really need to do this. I know how to do it. Why would I want to do this to someone?
Dude, you're fucking, like, props to you. You're a massive breath of fresh air. With all, like, that mentality as well is just so rare to see. Like, the amount of people I fucking bump into. And, like, I'll fucking cut it short here, but, like, those fucking people that just drain your fucking fuel and just take it all out of you. Like, you don't need that shit. If you're happy in your life, you don't need that fucking shit.
No, exactly, man.
But, mate, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, like, we touched base last week and I wasn't expecting a reply at all, but here we are. Mate, absolute massive congrats with everything you've done and everything you're going to do. We'll have to stay in touch. I'm definitely going to have to come and bring a couple of blokes down to watch you fight.
I know. I'll have to do this again after a few more wins. And
fuck yeah. We'll get you in and we'll try to tee it up at a time where you can have a beer and
that'll be good.
Take you out on the town. And
show me some Dolby life.
Yeah, there's not much here, man. Massive thanks, bro. Fuck you. Good luck with everything for the year.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.